You didn't believe the stories, so I was obliged to come. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Dead Film Critics Society podcast. As always, I have my beautiful co-host, Aiden Billing, from GBD Reviews. Make sure to
Yes.
check him out. As always, he's got some cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, let's go ahead. I don't remember if I asked this last week, but I have left from my notes a quick question. Do you have like a
Yeah.
favorite book or TV show or like play or whatever that and a director in mind who you'd want to make a movie out of it?
Ooh, that's a good question. Actually, I mean, there's one TV show I'd want to see turned into a movie. Yeah, and it's still very possible because there's a ton of like spin-offs for this franchise. I want to see a Clone Wars movie. Honestly, I want to see a movie that like talks about like some shit that happens between Attack of the Clones and fucking Revenge of the Sith. Because I mean, as awesome as the show is, I can't even imagine how awesome it would be if it was actually in movie form. I mean, I'm not saying they have to adapt like all the storylines into one movie because we've seen how bad that can go when you try and adapt like a whole season or like a whole show into a movie. The Last Airbender. But I mean, I would just like to see like at least one sick storyline that takes place in the Clone Wars in live action. That would make my day, and probably my year. Actually, I would be so happy to see that. I don't. And book wise, I mean, it's already been done, but I'd like someone to take another go at the Percy Jackson books, honestly. Because, I mean, I thought the first movie was okay, but I really like those books. Like, they were my favorite, when I was younger, and I would like to see someone actually, like, do them well and adapt them properly as well.
Right.
Because, like, for the first movie in that series, like, in the two-movie series, like, it strayed so far away from the source material, and, I get it. It's an adaptation. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but, like, they barely even tried.
Right.
So many characters were just completely wrong. It was, I don't know, and it just seems too dated now. That's the only thing I have to say. But I mean, I don't know. But I heard they are doing a TV series of that, so I hope
Okay.
that's gonna be good. That would
Yeah.
that would make me happy. Good.
I've never actually seen the Percy Jackson films, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
that's all right. You don't need to watch them. Just give them a skip. They're
Yeah.
okay.
Who directed them? Do you know?
I think Chris Columbus did the first one, and then after that, I don't know. To be honest,
Yeah. So Chris
they
Columbus did the first one. So Logan
yeah
Lerman as the.
yeah.
This poster does not look very good. Or this like background.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'd
Yeah.
say. Anyways, we can. Yeah. I there's technically already a Clone Wars movie, right? Like the first animated one where they like basically just combined a few episodes into a movie. I know it
Yeah, I
doesn't
know,
really
but
count, and it's not live action.
yeah,
What you're talking about. I don't know.
exactly.
Would you like who would you want to cover that though?
I mean, Taika Waititi is already going to direct a Star Wars movie. I feel like he would be perfect for it
Yeah.
because the Clone Wars. It's like it's serious, right? But at the same time, there's moments of levity throughout it. So I
Hmm.
feel like he would do a good job with that. I mean, like I think the way he tackled something like he tackled the Second World War. I'm sure he could tackle this fictional war and do it just fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
would agree with that. As far as the Percy
yeah.
Jackson films, I think Guillermo del Toro would be a pretty interesting pick.
No,
I think
I
he
would
would
agree
make a lot
there
of
because there's
sense.
loads of creatures in the books, right? He's perfect for that sort of stuff. He loves
Hmm.
creature features. So yeah, yeah,
Anyways, you want to move on to news?
yeah, sure.
All
All
right.
right. Unless you have anything you'd want to adapt.
Um, yeah, I didn't really prepare for this question myself.
No, it's fine. No
Nothing
worries.
particular, yeah.
Okay, no worries. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, first and most importantly, on the day that we are recording this, it is the main man, Keanu Reeves' birthday. I love that guy so much. He's like, yeah, he's one of my favorite actors, obviously. I mean, I know he's not the best actor out there, but been in a lot of my favorite movies, so I like him a lot. Plus, he's Canadian, so, we always gotta represent. And he actually went to high school, like, 25, not even 25, like 20 minutes away from me, actually. It's crazy. He went to
Oh,
Etobicoke School of the Arts, and then he got kicked out, so.
oh, he
But
did.
look where he
Really?
is now. Yeah, he
Wow.
did. Yeah.
Well
Yeah,
then.
there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have a favorite Keanu Reeves movie or?
Um, I don't know. John Wick, probably. I'd say.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, those movies are solid. Yeah. All right. Well, I had another piece of news I wanted to talk about. Unless you got something you want to talk about real quick.
You can go ahead with yours.
That's okay. We can cycle. You go, then I'll go after you. It's okay.
Okay. I mean, I just don't want to take up something because I always have a bunch of
No,
news.
no,
I don't want to accidentally take up something that you
it's
want to
fine.
talk
No
about.
worries. No worries,
Um,
man.
so Tenet, despite having very disappointing, well, call it disappointing, $364 million gross, is now at this point, becoming a little bit of an aspirational box office benchmark. Considering, even with the pandemic going down, and Nolan kind of released it almost at its peak, he was still able to get
Yeah.
people in theaters, which I think is very impressive considering people are
I
still
mean, yeah,
struggling, even with a lot of reopenings, especially in North America, to get
yeah.
people to see stuff. That he's still very much impressed with that film, financially at least, considering everything.
But yeah, I mean, he's Christopher Nolan. That guy can put butts in seats like nobody's business. So I mean, yeah, it's crazy. He's able to bring so much blockbuster type of energy to films that could also be contenders for Oscars, I should say, which I think is I don't know, pretty rare. So not every director can really do that. I think another director that does a good job with that to a certain degree. I'm not saying is amazing at it, but to a certain degree, it could be Martin Scorsese. Because I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street was a huge box office success. That made a shit ton of money. And then there's a
Yeah.
few other ones like The Departed was also a pretty big box office success. So I mean, he's had movies like that, but I just don't think he does it quite as well as Christopher Nolan. That's all.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not going for spectacle as much as Christopher
Yeah.
Nolan is by any means, of course.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ways that he ends up bringing spectacle into the type of films he wants to cover.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Yeah. So what did you want to talk about?
Well, there is a new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie coming
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and I read these books a lot as a kid, and it's animated this time. Which you know what? That's what they should have done in the first place, because it's hard to keep those films going for so long as the actors get older. It's just not going to work. And then they tried to do a live action, soft reboot of the franchise, But I don't know. That was pretty terrible. I heard so. So I think animated film is definitely the right way to go. I mean, it's probably not going to be very good. Let's be honest here. It's not exactly the greatest source material. But they're popular books, and I think kids are still reading them today. So I mean, they'll probably get some butts in seats. Hopefully it's not too bad.
It seems to be kind of marketed as a Disney Plus film from that poster I saw.
Yeah, I know. I
saw
saw it.
that.
Well, because Disney and Fox now, right?
It
So
makes a lot of
yeah,
sense considering.
yeah,
Obviously, it comes out December 3rd. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't know exactly. COVID goes up and down. Still does.
yeah.
Um, so we don't know.
It's
how-
probably still going to be at least Disney Plus though.
Yeah, there obviously be consideration. So obviously, I feel like Disney Plus, especially for I think Disney definitely wants Disney Plus to be the safe option for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, original movie streaming December 3rd. So I don't think this will even get theaters based on this poster.
Yeah, which leads me to believe it's probably not that good then.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they've taken things like Soul and Luca and throw them only on Disney Plus, and those are good movies.
Yeah,
It's obviously
I know,
not
but
Pixar.
that's only
Yeah. So there's a big difference there, but
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they did that with the Timmy Failure book adaptation movie, which was ended up being directed by Timmy Failure. This is another pretty popular line of kids' books with the similar energy, I'd say, to Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They made a live action adaptation with Tom McCarthy, who directed Spotlight, which won Best Picture. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah,
He directed that movie.
he did.
What the fuck? Jesus.
Had
That's
Craig
so
Robinson
weird,
and
honestly.
Wallace Shawn as well. Yeah, it
What
is
the
quite
shit?
weird.
That just makes me feel so strange. I don't know what to. It's like when
there's-
I heard that Greta Gerwig was doing a Barbie movie. Honestly.
Yeah, except I feel like
Yeah.
it's definitely more of a serious project because Warner Brothers is making it. You got Margot Robbie involved. You got Noah Baumbach co-writing it as well. So
Yeah.
Tom
That's
McCarthy
alright.
before Spotlight wasn't Spotlight has been his only Oscar thing at all. His new movie Stillwater has not done too well. And it looks like before that he didn't even make anything that good, really. I think he made this Adam Sandler movie. It's like the. Let me check. It's like. He's directed The Cobbler.
He did The Cobbler?
He did The Cobbler.
Oh no, that was a bad movie, man.
Yeah, so.
Well, I get it. Then. That makes sense.
I think it kind of for him depends on the script, and he co-wrote with Josh Singer for Spotlight. Josh Singer through it, he's been good at making Oscar bait. He made he wrote First Man. He helped write The Post. Which got a Best Picture nomination. Obviously, Spotlight won. First Man got a good amount of Oscar nominations. And he also made this film called The Fifth Estate, which didn't do very well.
Oh, I know The Fifth Estate, yeah. It's about the WikiLeaks stuff. Yeah.
That didn't do too well. And now he's supposed to be writing Bernstein, the film about the composer of West Side Story, played and directed by Bradley Cooper, along with Carey Mulligan and Jeremy Strong are in the cast. And Bradley Cooper and Josh Singer co-wrote the script, so that's very much looked at as an Oscar contender. But Tom McCarthy is not really in general.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice to see him take on a different project at least. Timmy Failure. Nia DaCosta with Candyman. It grossed $22.3 million and became the first #1 film to be directed by a black woman, #1 at the box office domestically, which is cool. It's good to see.
Yeah, good for her.
That happening.
She's pretty young as well. She's only like 31. It's crazy.
Yeah, this is like pretty much her first film, or close to at least, I think.
I think she did another one before, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, she might have done one other film. I'll have to check. She did Little Woods. This is her sophomore effort.
Yeah.
She did this film called Little Woods, which has solid reviews. Pretty close to Candymand's reviews. They're both solid, not amazing.
Yeah.
She's slated to do The Marvels, the sequel to Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. I mean, maybe she could make fucking Captain Marvel not a boring character without a Karen haircut. That would be nice. I mean.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Captain Marvel was fine. It was too formulaic Marvel, I mean, like I like the '90s stuff, but other than that, the film kind of drags a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really crazy.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So apparently, Tom Cruise for Mission Impossible 7, which got delayed again.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that later.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you about that actually.
He trained for a year apparently, including 500 skydives and 13,000 motorbike jumps.
What the fuck?
That's
Seriously?
a lot of motorbike jumps.
Jesus.
Also, who's counting this?
Yeah,
Who's counting these motorbike
this man
jumps?
I don't know, but
That's
this man is gonna be 60 next year. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. How long can he keep doing these?
No, my monitor blacked out for a second there. But it should be fine. Anyways, so George Miller, he cast Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa for the Furiosa movie. Apparently, he did that after seeing an early cut of Last Night in Soho, which is obviously very cool to see that, apparently Anya Taylor-Joy definitely impresses in that movie. And encourage George Miller to cast her. So yeah, definitely looking forward to Last Night in Soho. It premieres at Venice Film Festival, which is happening right now on Friday. That's part of the reason later we're going to do a quick Metacritic update, because before fall festivals, because that's stuff. This is like the prime time. This is like when films that are usually critic bait or Oscar bait are coming out. So we'll be seeing a lot of higher score films coming out soon, or a couple of flops, obviously, that naturally comes with it. So as we mentioned, Mission Impossible 7 is going to be delayed till fall 2022, and Top Gun Maverick is moving to Memorial Day weekend of 2022.
Yeah.
In May.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a name, honestly. So it means that, because that just invalidates my top 5 most anticipated for 2021 list.
Oh,
So I mean, because that movie was supposed to come out this year, I was so hyped for it, but now it's just fucking been delayed. Why is it being delayed so much though? Like while other movies are coming out, I really don't understand.
I
Like,
mean, a good amount of things
not
have been
be
delayed.
ready.
Like you remember Venom: Let There Be Carnage, which got its rating for PG-13, which is no surprise. But
That's a
it got.
mistake.
I mean, sure, but that makes
They should
no
make it R.
sense.
'Cause it's Venom. You know, like he
Yeah,
bites people.
it is. It is
He bites
Venom.
people's heads off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Then they maybe should hire someone other than Andy Serkis. I don't know. But Top Gun Maverick is moving to Memorial Day weekend, and that in for some reason, well, because they're both Tom Cruise movies, delays Mission Impossible 7. We got another final international trailer for No Time to Die, which will premiere pretty soon, actually, because I know it will make its general release
October, isn't it?
um, in the UK, I believe it's getting released September 30th, and then here it gets released October 8th, I believe.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out. It's a
Still
pretty
pretty
long
fucking hyped for
film.
that, honestly.
It's been
How long is it?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Jesus.
It's a longer one. It's a big long boy. It's from the director
Yeah.
of Beasts of No Nation, who I think is a pretty good
Yeah.
director. He also did the first season of True Detective. So I think this guy is very qualified to make this movie. And a lot of the action looks cool in it. It looks like, obviously with the runtime, it's being very ambitious. So I would look forward to seeing
Yeah,
it.
I mean, honestly, with the runtime that long, it's probably gonna. I hope it's gonna be epic. And there's a really good director behind it. I think Cary Fukunaga is He's a great director. I mean, he almost directed, It's, the first one, chapter one, I should say, which makes me and he had an interesting vision for that film. I think he could have done some good stuff with it, but he's done some other good stuff in the past. Obviously, Beast of No Nation is a great one. You already mentioned that, so I'd really like to see what he does with a bigger budget type film like this. I think he could do pretty well. Of course, what the fuck, yo! I've been waiting for this film forever, and I just find it hilarious how the Billie Eilish song has been out longer than than the movie is.
by
Honestly,
a good margin, by a while.
Yeah, I know.
So
yeah.
of course, as Wes Anderson does, he casts another
Yes.
previous cast member, Tony Revolori, back in the cast
Mhm.
of his next film, which is filming in Spain, I think, right now. Starring Tilda Swinton, Bill Murray, Adrian Brody, Tom Hanks, Margot Robbie, Rupert Friend, Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Hope Davis, Jeffrey Wright, and Liev Schreiber. Yeah, quite the cast. Who knows? Maybe he'll even top the French Dispatch with this kind of cast. Who knows? I'm really curious to see though who are supposed to be more of the leads. I honestly, if Tom Hanks is the lead, that'd be very cool. Because he usually, a good amount of the time, he'll have French Dispatch very much looks like an ensemble. But with Budapest Hotel and Moonrise Kingdom and Isle of Dogs, he put the leads as people he hadn't cast before. Obviously, with Moonrise Kingdom, he hadn't cast it had to be kids as the leads, obviously.
Yeah.
But and so that worked out. But then obviously got Ralph Fiennes, who hadn't worked for him, and then Bryan Cranston hadn't been in a film before Isle of Dogs. So I don't know. Curious about that.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah. You remember the part of The Last Dance where Dennis Rodman goes to Vegas?
Yes, I know they're making a movie out of that. That could be interesting.
So it's going to be adapted as a feature film with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, but producing it.
Oh, that right there is the perfect fucking duo to tackle this shit. But who's gonna play Dennis Rodman? Do you think? Who would you want to see as Dennis?
Who would I want to see?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a tough question.
Yo, imagine Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Taika Waititi working on this film. I think that would be so fucking funny.
I don't know if
it would be
Waititi's best. You know who would maybe honestly cover this? You know who would maybe direct the Safdie brothers? I feel like could direct this. That
could be interesting.
That would be good. They're very much interested in basketball. They did a documentary about a high school recruit who was rated higher than LeBron at one point, but then never ended up playing any minutes in the NBA. And obviously Uncut Gems shows their love of basketball a good amount. So they're clearly very much basketball fans. So I don't know, they'd be a perfect choice. I don't see them directing this, but who knows? I don't know. Off the top of my head, the lead of Candyman, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, honestly, he would be a solid pick, I think, for Rodman. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could be. Yeah,
I feel like
that'd
he
be
has
interesting to
the
see.
physicality and the act definitely has the acting chops. I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, he's already built like Dennis Rodman as well. He's in fantastic shape. I've seen
Yeah.
that guy's workout routine. He's fucking crazy, honestly.
And I
Love
think he
it.
sort of has a
Thank you,
similar
Michael.
like head shape ish thing. I don't know. Obviously, it's not
Yeah,
always about similarities, but I don't know. It's the first name
yeah,
that comes to mind right now. Francis
yeah.
Ford
We
Coppola,
did watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
is going to be is working on his next film. So he's still making films. It's
Jesus.
supposed to be.
Hmm.
It's supposed to be. So it's called Megalopolis. He's been in discussion with a lot of actors to make the film, which will apparently cost between 100 and 120 million dollars. It has
Hmm.
It's supposed to have Oscar Isaac in it. And Oscar Isaac, I believe, is also supposed to play Francis Ford Coppola in something, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what. I want to double check that. But, yeah. Oscar Isaac, Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh yeah, Francis Ford Coppola hasn't directed anything in a while. Honestly, his last film was in 2011. So
Hmm.
this will be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll
Uh,
be his first film in a decade. I don't know.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah. The last time he made a film, it didn't do very well.
who is making this film? Like, I wonder who's financing it. Who's respecting him so enough to give him this much money? In the meantime, you can take a look at this poster for The Guilty, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, which is about a 911 uh, person. Like what the people who take the calls. I don't remember the exact name, but the people who take the calls,
Operator.
operator, who has to help somebody. I don't know. So it's supposed to be a thriller from Antoine Fuqua, who did The Equalizer and The Magnificent
Yeah,
Seven, I believe. He
and
did
Training
those.
Day. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Training Day, which probably gave him his career, if we're being honest. Or AKA
yeah,
Denzel has given him his career. Um,
yeah.
yeah. Trying to find Megapolis. Yeah, so it's supposed to have the Megapolis film, Francis Ford Coppola. It's supposed to have Oscar Isaac, Zendaya, Forrest Whitaker, Kate Blanchett, Michelle Pfeiffer. Those are the ones I know. It does not have a producing company at the moment, or at least under the letterbox information. So that's a bit weird. I don't know who's putting up the money, but I guess we'll find out soon enough.
I guess so.
Yeah. Apple and Skydance are reuniting Marvel superheroes Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans for a Dexter Fletcher, who did Rocketman, directed romantic action adventure called Ghosted. And that will be an Apple movie. So that sounds kind of interesting.
I heard about that movie. Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, clearly seeing Scarlett Johansson. Well, obviously she got cast in a Wes Anderson movie, which is under Fox Searchlight, which is technically under the Disney flag, but it shows that she'll be able to
Yeah.
work with like Fox, the other divisions of Disney. I'm assuming not
She's
Disney
Marvel.
themselves, probably Disney, not Marvel. I doubt Star Wars. I don't know if she'd want to. She seems done with like franchises at the moment, at least I'd think.
And
Anyway.
that's fine. I mean, like, she's been a part of one for like fucking 11 years, so I don't
Yeah,
blame her.
exactly. Yeah, I figured,
One time.
yeah, I figured you'd want to try some other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that's the end of my news.
Yeah.
You want to go into, I think we're gonna go into our Metacritic update.
Yep. And after that, do you want to do a trailer reaction? Because there's a new trailer for the film Red Notice out. So
I guess so. Yeah, I guess we can do
up
that.
to you. I mean, because I don't know what other trailers you'd want to react to. Do you have one?
I mean, we do have the trailers for Spencer and the Power Dog recorded, if you remember.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Then we'll just leave that.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah, it's no worries.
All right,
I'll watch that on my own time.
Yeah, let me share with the audience and you the Metacritic thing, and we'll go from there.
All right. Let's get down to business.
Alright. Yeah. So here is the current lineups that we have. So I had Soggy Bottom, the PTA film, which has been questioned to potentially maybe be delayed. There hasn't been a lot of information about it. MGM says they don't. Paul Thomas Anderson hasn't told them the title, or the official title, at least. Tragedy Macbeth, that's going to be premiering at New York Film Festival later in September. A Hero, which debuted. Actually, I think might need to update the Metacritic score. This will be at Toronto Film Festival as well as a couple other festivals. But let's go to the website itself. The Power of the Dog has very good.
All right, well, I already know so far I'm winning. I have an 85 average, and you have a 72 average.
Yeah. I can update this for now. Because at the moment, Power of the Dog has an 88. A Hero. Okay. I don't know if it's changed since I last saw it.
Okay, Donda's getting
trashed on, yeah. Oh, it is 78 now.
Yeah.
So I can move that up a little bit. Obviously that will probably change a little bit. It's going to Toronto Film Festival.
Wait, are any of my other films out?
No. Yeah. So King Richard will be going to Swan Song. We haven't heard much about Swan Song in a while. It's the film with Mahershala Ali, Awkwafina, Naomi Harris, and Glenn Close. We haven't heard much. There hasn't been much about that lately. Last Night in Soho is supposed to be coming out soon. Nightmare Alley supposed to have a teaser somewhat soon. The Card Counter is premiering at Venice pretty soon. I don't know if it has reviews already. I don't remember exactly when it premieres. Yeah, does not have any reviews yet. That releases on the 10th.
Well, fucking damn it, that's not so good.
Let me look at Red Rocket, the Sean Baker film, which premiered at Cannes. That has a 78, so I can go ahead and put that down for me. Canterbury Glass, though, has been, I'm pretty sure, confirmed, if I remember correctly, to be 2022. I'll look that up just to be sure, but... Okay, it's not confirmed here at least, but I know people have taken off their predictions for the Oscars. Wait, check the IMDb. Yeah. So I guess it doesn't have a confirmed. It's very unlikely to be 2021. But same with The Killers of the Flower Moon. So I'll leave it, and yours will be left. King Richard is supposed to premiere at Telluride Film Festival, which is pretty soon. Actually, I think that starts tomorrow? Or today, maybe? Yeah, I believe that's today. It starts today.
Oh,
so we'll be getting scores for King Richard pretty soon. House of Gucci obviously will have its theatrical release in November. Eternals also November. Dune November. Left in Soho.
I can't wait for this, honestly. Yeah.
We
got some good films coming up.
Yeah, we definitely have some good films coming up. Annette was definitely my biggest bust. It only had a 66, and it's released on Amazon now, so I'm pretty sure its score is pretty much set in stone. Pretty sure In the Heights hasn't changed, if I remember correctly.
What?
I don't know why they're not showing In the Heights when I wrote it.
It should be on there.
Yeah, still an 84. Pretty sure it'll be staying that way. I guess we can quickly check the total averages. I'm pretty sure you're still winning because I think you have the higher average at the moment.
Yeah, I checked from the 3 films. It's 85. Here, I'll do it for you. Hold on, I have my phone right here.
All right.
Here, go back to it. Trying to see. Okay, so 91 plus 78 plus 66 plus
and I forgot.
78.
I think the French Dispatch score actually got if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you have a 78.25, so yeah, I'm still ahead of you. French Dispatch has
an 82 now.
Oh, okay.
If you see here,
All right. Well,
that'll probably
I'll
also change
then.
in the future. That's not set in stone. Obviously, it needs to get its theatrical release as well. It's going to New York Film Festival as well, but that'll change. But for now, it's 82. Yeah, Green Knight's
Okay, I still have an 8. Yep.
Yeah, you're still winning. But we'll have to see. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Aiden's winning.
Shall we go into the films then?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about the films. Change the display.
All right. Well, considering that Candyman 1992 came out first, let's talk about that one first, and then we can move on to the newer one. How about that? Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds solid.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, as I already said, Candyman is a 1992 horror slasher type film. It stars was it Virginia Madsen? I really don't know who she is. Of course, the iconic Tony Todd. I love that man. His voice is like butter over popcorn. It's fantastic. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. What did you think of the first? Like, what were your like first thoughts like watching this thing?
So I ended up seeing the new one first. I'll
Okay.
go ahead and say that. I like the new one better. I'll also go ahead.
Well, yeah, I did too, actually. Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't the most attentive because they kind of summarize the movie they kind of summarized the movie in the new one. So I kind of knew everything that was going to be happening, for the most part, and there wasn't really anything else that really made me more interested. Most of the time, I don't know. Tony Todd's voice again is very, iconic, very effective for this film. I don't know. This film, I guess is more trying to be like. I guess it's less confusing than the new one, being that it seems like this film is definitely only trying to be a horror movie, not really trying to. Well, at the same time, it's somewhat trying to be a social commentary in some parts, obviously. A little bit, but I don't know. Like, and as a horror movie, it's okay. I don't know. It's like, it obviously looks a lot more dated and doesn't look as good as.
No, it definitely does. I agree with you there. Yeah.
Kind of a given, considering obviously this one, and the new one had a better budget, anyways. What were you gonna expect? And obviously technology has just made it easier with less money to make a better looking film. No, nothing really clicks here for me, particularly. I don't want to say it was bad. It wasn't.
No, it's definitely not bad. I don't know. Is it just me, or like it's an hour and a half long movie, basically, right? But doesn't it kind of drag a little bit? It feels longer.
A little bit. I would also.
I feel myself like kind of like just checked out of it mentally, like a lot at the beginning. But then like when Candyman comes on screen, like I feel a little bit more engaged. But then after that, it's just not really.
And the rules for how Candyman works in this film, I feel, are more confusing to me, because I guess in both he's like. Somehow he's like basically possessing the two characters. Well, in this case, just Virginia Marsden's character, who then does like crazy shit. But then it's better. Obviously, it's better explained in the new one. It's like, oh, I know what's happening because the first one told me that she just basically went crazy because of Candyman somehow. And then she she kidnapped the kid, cut the Wilder's head off, and then as far as like what happened, I can't precisely tell you. I guess okay, so we got Virginia Marsden's character, who's interested in this like Candyman myth, so she goes into Cabrini Green and like the projects, housing projects, and okay, my monitor just did the same thing. I went dark again for a second. Don't know why. And then I don't know, like, I don't get what makes this film tick. The score's good.
Yeah,
Philip Glass
I
did
like
it.
Tony Todd as Candyman. I think he
Yeah.
does a good job with that. Like when he's on screen, he's pretty intimidating. So yeah,
The like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand how Candyman works at all in this film, really. Other than I guess
no,
he
it
possesses
is a
people.
bit confusing. I'm with you on that. Yeah, the rules are not exactly clear, but yeah.
And granted, they aren't completely clear in the new one either. But I feel like they're more
Yeah,
clear overall.
yeah.
Um, and I don't know what this film was going for overall. Like, the scariness, obviously it had its aspects, but it
Mm.
didn't feel like it was completely going for them. It felt more like it was trying to be a horror film driven to like a different, like using horror as a vehicle to something else. But I have no idea what that something else would be, and my monitor just went dark again. What is going on here?
Oh boy.
Yeah. So apparently this is based on a book. I did not find that book just on a Google search. I guess the cast is fine. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about this. I
Yeah.
really it's not. Yeah, there's nothing that really does it for me here. I probably would not have watched this if it wasn't interested in seeing the new one. And
Yeah.
if we weren't doing it for the podcast, I don't know what to say really. And the monitor just did the same thing. I don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. What else? Do you have anything?
I don't really have anything else to say, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I like I like where it was shot. I mean, I think it was kind of cool to set a horror film in like a major city like Chicago and something like the projects, because I mean you don't see you always see horror films like in like these idyllic little towns, like not so
Or
much in like these big
cottages,
cities
or
and like
like
super.
yes,
Yeah, exactly. Like I
suburbs.
like the urban environment. Yeah, I'm glad that
Yeah,
they continued that for the sequel. Obviously, I think that was a good choice. Like like by the filmmakers there. I think it was good. I mean, it is based off of an urban legend from like a like this story like this urban legend like book. It's like
yeah,
contains 6 of them or some shit. Yeah, I think it's
right.
kind of cool though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that saying. It's pretty.
So I think we've been saying her
Yeah,
name wrong. I think it's Virginia Madsen, not Marsden.
yeah. I said
Or,
Madsen
oh,
earlier.
okay. Did I say Martin?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to check.
That's okay.
Um. Anyways, this film is fine. Um. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it. The score
That's
is
okay.
good. Tony Todd's voice
Yeah.
is good. There's nothing that makes
Oh
me
yeah.
mad. It's shot
No,
fine. The acting is
it's
kind
like
of weak
yeah,
overall, though I'd say.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. Solid film,
That's
I
fine.
guess.
Yeah, I don't know. What would you give it out of 10?
I gave it a 5 out of 10, closer to 6, or out of 100, I gave it a 56.
I'd probably give it around a 6 as well. Like it's like it's yeah. There's obviously like there's nothing bad about it, but it just I don't know. It's sort of average, but I understand why it gained a cult following. It's just because Tony Todd, like in that role, was pretty perfectly cast. I
Yeah.
like that. He's a pretty solid. He's a bit of a I don't know. What's the male version of a scream queen? I'm trying to think of. Scream King, I guess. I don't know. Has anyone ever really
I
said
don't
anything like
know.
that before?
Horror movie. I don't know. I don't know how to describe that. I don't know.
That's okay. No worries. All
He
right.
was
All right.
in all the Final Destination films and Platoon.
Yes, except for the Final Destination, which was not even the last one. So, yeah.
Well, they lied.
Yep. Anyways,
They lied.
shall we get into
Anyways,
the sequel then? Yeah.
yeah. We can go ahead and talk about Candyman 2021, directed by Nita
Yes.
Costa, co-written
Produced
by
by Jordan
Jordan
Peele.
Peele, directed and written by
Yeah.
Nita Costa, co-written by Jordan Peele,
Mm.
starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Don't forget
Yeah.
that. Also, one of the writers, Win Rosenfield, was another
Yes.
writer. Rosenfeld was another writer.
Also, don't forget your boy Coleman Domingo. I know you like him.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm still going through this. Tanya
Oh,
Paris,
okay.
Nathan Stewart Jarrett, Coleman Domingo, and Kyle Kaminsky and Vanessa Williams, who was in the other one. So,
Yes.
obviously, this spoilers for Candyman. I don't know. The most intriguing thing about honestly the other Candyman was that I realized that they kind of say it in this film, but then it's like, oh yeah, that's Anthony. So we got our main character Anthony McCoy, and his partner who's Brianna, played by Tanya Paris, who's going to be in the Marvels. So I wonder if that's maybe part of the reason she was cast. Because Nia Costa and her have a good working relationship. Anyways, so this character was in the previous film as a child. He was the child who was kidnapped, and went through all the escapades with Candyman and I don't even remember her name anymore. Helen Lyle. That's her character name.
There you go.
Yeah, and then so Jordan Peele and Nia DaCosta tried to frame this movie more as a little more of a social statement. Seeing Candyman as a victim of the system most of the time, and Tracy. And there's a particular, probably one of the best scenes. Honestly, all the best scenes have Coleman Domingo, because he's one of the reasons I watched this. I think watching this in a theater was definitely the right choice. It was very much elevated by that. I think the film's shot very well. I think the score is solid. I think there's one other thing. The production design's solid. I'm trying to remember what I put. The sound. I think the sound was maybe the best part of the whole movie, honestly. I think that the sound design was done pretty well.
It creates a really creepy atmosphere. I like that. It's good stuff.
I think that was good. I think Coleman Domingo is amazing. His character doesn't make a lot of sense at the end, though, for me, especially.
Yeah, when he facilitates the transformation.
Yeah.
Kind of comes out of nowhere a little bit.
I don't know what he's trying to do there. Do you
I don't know what the point of that is. No, I couldn't really figure it out. Like, I don't know. There's no reason why he would want to make another Candy, because he already fears the first one so much. So why would he want to create more problems?
It wasn't that Coleman Domingo seemed to fear the Candyman. It was more that he saw Candyman as a representation of how the system in particular. Well, they use the word. They particularly do it towards the white system. They name it as white people, white supremacy, or the cops, which often are white, as the villains, and that they're Candyman is to kind of scare them in a way, as a way to sort of fight back, but then also at the same time because there's apparently been multiple Candymans throughout history, but then every time they're slain, it shows how the system is working against black people, because Candyman's sort of a representative of lower communities. So then I don't know why because it makes it seem like he's creating, he's making, obviously with the hook for the hand that can be seen as a weapon, so that can cause the police to be scared and then cause them to shoot. And that's apparently what happened with Sherman, or the previous Candyman played by Tony Todd, or I don't know if does he get another name? In the first one, Daniel. I swear they said Sherman in this new film. What's Tony?
Well, no, there's two. There's Daniel Robitelli, which is the older Candyman, and then there's Sherman. His last name, who's the one who got killed in the 70s, right? So there's two separate Candymans there, not including information.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay, so there's been so the idea that there's been multiple Candymans, and I thought that the one that we show with the young Coleman Domingo was Tony Todd's character, but I guess it wasn't. Who played that one then? Michael Haregrove, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he is.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I just thought this was definitely more interesting. The writing isn't much better though, I'd say.
Yeah.
They add some themes, so it seems like it's a little more trying to use horror as a vehicle, but then at the same time, by the end especially, those are very mixed. Because, again, Coleman Domingo's character apparently... It's like he's setting it up. He's like setting up Yaya to die as a symbol. Which makes it like... In some ways, you could say, like, he's using a man as bait to try to push this narrative of police brutality. Which
Yeah,
is
no.
very... I can't imagine... Like, I can't imagine that's what they were going for, but obviously the argument could be made that, you know, apparently people are just setting this up to create this narrative. Which they're not. Yeah. No one wants to die. And, like, I doubt there are people that... Like, I don't know what word to use. Like, sinister to, like, purposely set up this idea of fear. Because I don't know how that serves them, other than, like, unless they're crazy. Which Coleman Domingo's character, especially by the end, definitely seems that way. But before, he seems pretty woke. Seems pretty sane. But then, like, I don't know what happens to him.
Kind of just unravels by the end of the film.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm talking about him more also kind of show, like, I don't think the other characters... It's like, he's the most interesting character. Because I think he maybe has... Well, the strong performance, I think, helps that. But also, he seems like he does the most, honestly. He's, like, everyone else just seems like a little bit of a passive victim. Obviously, the people who get killed are very much passive victims. Tanya Paris doesn't really matter till, like, the third act. And even then, she just escapes. And that's pretty much all she does. And then, obviously, she summons. She
kills a bunch of cops by summoning her dead boyfriend. Yeah, that part was so crazy.
Which is, I knew there was going to be an abrupt ending. I don't know if you knew. Like, the ending, I think, is the part that most people apparently are mad at, or particularly the third act. Which I don't always love calling something the third act because, like, I think in some movies it's a lot easier to, like, you know, obviously there's a story structure. But like, and you can call something the third act, but you have no idea what the intentions of the writer were. For all you know, the third act could have started, like, in the middle. And obviously, the idea that all movies have to have 3 acts is a little, like,
it's ludicrous.
Reductive. But yeah, the ending of this film, or, like, the ending scene, and, like, starts when, like, Coleman kidnaps Yaya. From there on, things are very messy. You don't really know what the point of what's happening there is. Then Yaya kills a bunch of cops just to kind of save Tanya, even though he's technically dead, so now he's, I guess, Candyman more than he is Anthony McCoy. But then I don't get this, like, passing of a legacy thing that they're trying to do. It's like Coleman's like, oh, because he was a kid who was kidnapped through Candyman's powers, he's gonna become the new Candyman, and all this stuff, and how apparently his mom hid from Yaya that you spent your first couple of years in the projects and you were kidnapped. You were the child that your girlfriend's gay brother was talking about at the beginning. Which is also convenient, because if he'd never heard that story, he wouldn't know what the fuck is, like, she was talking about. She'd have the whole she would have to explain the whole thing, which honestly might have been better. And then it sort of alludes the idea of gentrification. It alludes the idea of, like, what is, like, how can you properly, like, have white critics critique black art, because then it's just white critics portraying what they think black art should be, and not what black artists think black art should be. It kind of alludes to that with Anthony being an artist, and having that critic being like, I think you're harming your community because you're, like, an artist who's, like, just taking advantage of the low housing costs in your community so you can fuck around with art. Which, I mean, okay, it seems to be going for something there. I don't know if Jordan Peele was pissed that Us didn't get as good critical reception overall, or at least what's its freaking Metacritic score, actually? Because I know it still has a very high Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just curious what its Metacritic score is. Not that obviously I don't think that was the intention, but it kind of feels like it has sort of the same energy as like did you watch Malcolm and Marie?
No, I did not.
Anyway, that's by Sam Levinson, who's the creator of Euphoria.
Yeah.
So us only has an 81, which honestly is kind of high.
Pardon
oh
me.
boy.
Sorry, I mean bless.
That kind of scared me,
Bless
honestly.
me.
That was scarier.
Oh, sorry,
That was scarier. That was scarier than the first Candyman movie.
That was
I think the actors do the best they can, and like obviously they're like I think Coleman again easily the best, and I feel like he also gets the most to do as far as like being crazy, because he gets to be crazy. Again, the characters aren't amazing at all; they're pretty weak. The horror scenes I think are definitely a lot more effective than the first one, but again, it's just I don't know. And it's like I kind of like the idea that you can like only see him in mirrors and that he kind of lives through mirrors because that's how you summon him through a mirror. I don't know. And he kills a bunch of white people. Candyman. And it has the same energy as like the first one in that Yaya seems to be the one actually doing all these things, but he's like being possessed, and like we have these segments where he's like blacking out. Because at first you definitely don't think he's the one who killed like the two artists, like the art gallery director and his like intern. You don't think that at first, and then once he kills the critic, once the critic is killed, it's like it's him. But does he? And then I guess you're supposed to question: does he know he's doing it? Is he doing it out of like pure revenge, or whatever? But apparently, I just don't get how the social statements they're trying to make mix with the idea of Candyman, who's literally just technically a black man who just goes around killing people, which is often white people. Literally, I feel like they intentionally did this in the scene where like the girls are summoning him. Obviously, it seems. First of all, the black girl lives because she hid in the stall. I don't know if that was supposed to be like on purpose, but literally, the one who chickens out and just leaves the bathroom is the Asian girl. So then it only leaves the white girls in the bathroom to be killed by Candyman, which didn't feel like a coincidence to me at all. Like I feel like that was sort of purposeful, but then again, I don't get the point of that. Like I don't know what they're trying to say through these things. It's like, is Candyman supposed to be the way that they, like, rise up?
Racist?
Rise up?
Is he racist because people are racist towards him?
Is Candyman, like, a representation of, like, the Malcolm X mentality that, like, you're gonna have to kill some people to...
No, I mean, interesting. I never thought of it that way, actually. That's a good point.
I can't imagine that's how the first book or movie was written in mind. You can maybe think of it that way here. And I think, again, at least they threw in the idea of these themes, which makes this movie more interesting to talk about, even though I don't think those themes are executed very well overall. But at least it makes it more interesting to talk about, and the movie was more interestingly shot and everything. I don't know if that's what it's trying to going for. Again, I'm not confident in saying that at all, because I have literally no idea what they were going for, because I think the overall approach to the themes was messy. And the plot was very okay. I saw a good amount of complaints of people saying that, the themes were overtaking the plot. But honestly, I think the plot was honestly maybe stronger than the themes. The themes are, like, very shallow. Because overall, this movie is very much like the first plot-wise. So, like, I don't know. If you didn't have a problem with the plot of the first one, you shouldn't have a problem with the second, which is how I feel. I don't have a problem with either of them, even though I don't think they're good plots. They're fine plots. They're okay. What elevates this is the idea of the themes that you might be able to talk about, and the score, the sound. I think, again, that was the most well-done part. And,
do you think it could get Oscar nominations in that regard, or no?
Probably not. This movie, I think, is done critically well. I don't think no one's really going to be vying for this. I don't think the sound, it's not like a quiet, unfortunately, I think it would probably have it'd probably have less chance than A Quiet Place, unfortunately, just because A Quiet Place has a quiet place in it, and it's a sort of a gimmick. It stands out in that way.
Yeah.
This is just a
Yeah.
horror movie, which with pretty good sound design, better than A Quiet Place Part 2, I'd say, but it's not gonna, like, no one's gonna think, oh, Candyman, yeah, that should get nominated for sound. No one's really gonna think that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which I think it would probably be deserving. If anything. And again, the score is pretty solid, like I said. Yeah, no. Some people thought, well, for a second, some people thought this could potentially be, like, with Jordan Peele behind it, everyone thinks that he's going to be able to produce a potential Best Picture contender. Doesn't seem like... I think it'll be a little bit before he has another Best Picture nominated movie. I don't think Nope looks like the movie that will get nominated. Though I think it could get some technical stuff and maybe acting for Kaluuya or Steven Yeun. I'd love to see that. But, I don't know. Obviously, this maybe makes me more excited for Nope, only because, like, I think writing overall is maybe an improvement for Us, only because Us was, like, really messy. And it's also, I think this, like, obviously I think Jordan Peele proves his presentation from in Us compared to Get Out, which is maybe why Us is pretty close to Get Out for me personally. Because I don't love Get Out. I think it's good. I think it's somewhat close to Us. I think Candyman improves on hit visually, so hopefully Jordan Peele learns some lessons from Nita Costa, because I think she's a stronger director than him. And hopefully Nope is going to reflect that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about that film.
And
anyway, so should we get...
Yeah, we should go ahead and score this. What do you want to give it?
I'd probably give it higher than the first one. I'd probably give it like 7, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
What do you think you give it?
I gave it a 6, closer to a 7, like a...
So we're basically the same then.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty similar. I gave it like a...
Right.
Out of 100, I gave it like a 67. Kind of doing
I would have given it. I would have given it a 69. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, let's just move on. Anyways, that's the video. Boom. Have you seen anything else lately, or do you want to quickly talk about before?
Yeah, I have a couple things I've watched other than what was the last? I'm trying to remember what I watched before the last podcast. Did I mentioned we watched so I watched. Did I mention Harold and I probably? So I watched 1917. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It's good. It's a 7. Remain that way.
I still enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It's a good one.
I watched it on my laptop the first time. I had to give it another chance on Blu-ray, which I got from the library, and it's good. It's obviously very much a technical feat. The writing's, it's okay. I think there's it seems to be going for a couple more deeper, more like elevated moments over like your typical war film. They really achieved that in the end. Yeah. I also watched this pretty weird film called High Life. With Robert Pattinson. It was weird. But it was.
What's it about?
It was okay. It's about death row prisoners who are sent to space to do stuff, but they're pretty much sent to die and do stuff for science.
Oh. Well, alrighty then.
Very chaotic.
Interesting.
I ended up watching Chernobyl.
Really?
That. It's good. It's not worthy of like the highest thing on IMDb. Like one of the highest things on IMDb. It's a 9.4 there. It's a 4.5 on Letterboxd. It's a solid 4-star thing. It's good. It's not. Obviously, it was very impressive to tackle something of this scale for a television show, and it's well directed. Yeah. There have been better directed TV shows and movies by a good far amount. Obviously, the scale of the story is obviously very impressive, but it doesn't really get to too much more than that. Especially the first few episodes feel pretty repetitive because it's just people fucking up in the wake of this nuclear disaster, and people trying to solve it. So in that way, it's not too in depth. It is an interesting enough look at, I think, the difference between East and West. my favorite episode's episode 4 because it had Barry Keoghan in it for one, and obviously I love Barry Keoghan, and I think it reminded me of it was a pretty good. It was the most dreadful kind of anti-war, like it was a little anti-war / army in a good way, in showing just like how horrific, because they had to bring in kids to like help clean up the site, and by clean up they meant his job, like Barry Keoghan's character, was to kill
To shoot all the other dogs.
all the dogs that had been exposed to radioactivity. And it's pretty brutal. And I think it's also good because it allows the music to shine the most, because it's like the one with the least talking. So it just allows, like, in the music's very good at creating this sense of dread, but that's pretty much all it does. And unfortunately, I think Hilder, I don't want to try to pronounce the rest of her name because I'm going to mess it up very badly. Hilder G, who also did Joker. I really feel she's only good at like creating dread with her scores. That's kind of all she does in Joker. She seems a little one note. I'm sure she can improve on that. And she did also the Sicario sequel score, which I feel like, again, would probably just be based on how creating dread. So I'm hoping that she can figure out a way to like be able to create scores that aren't just based on creating dread, because whatever she gets out of those strings works very well for that. But I think there could be more. The acting's good. Barry Keoghan and Jesse Buckley are my favorites. Jared Harris did a pretty good job with this. I hadn't really seen him in any other thing else, I don't think, but I think he was pretty good here. Yeah. It shows how dumb communism is and how it kind of led to this disaster. But at the same time, it kind of flexes how good communism is for cleaning shit up. Because if this thing happened in the United States and they had to, like, recruit people to, like, clean this shit up, like, I don't know if people would go. You wouldn't be able to convince enough people to, like, make sacrifices like this in a fucking Western, especially, like, America. But in Canada, I also don't think it would happen. Like, you wouldn't be able, in most Western societies, there's no way you would be able to get people to do this stuff. You're able to do it
true.
in communist Russia, but at the same time, communist Russia is why you're in that shit in the first place. So, but if this shit happens, if somehow this happens, something like this happens this is why I'm hoping the government needs to keep a very high standard on things that can become this dangerous, like nuclear reactors. Because if they lower the standards, if they allow because I'm assuming there's a good amount more private owned. If they allow those to have lower standards, we're gonna be fucked. Because if this happened in the United States, we'd be fucked. Much more people would be fucked than this, and a lot of people got fucked over this.
That's true.
But Jarrell Jerome definitely deserved. I think When They See Us is definitely better. It lost limited series to this, but at least Jarrell Jerome won over Jared Harris, because that very much felt deserved. I talked about that for a while. I also watched Blade Runner. I didn't like it that much. It was okay. It was like a 6. Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
It aged. I also watched this film called Shithouse, which is about a freshman in college who's kind of lonely. It was okay. It was a 6. And then I watched Wild Rose, also with Jesse Buckley, who gives a pretty good performance. It's about a Scottish woman who wants to be a country artist. And she is also just been released from jail and has 2 kids. So you can imagine how that might go. It's pretty good. Yeah. Great Jesse Buckley performance. 7 out of 10. I don't know. Did you watch anything?
The only thing I really watched, what was it? I watched there's this, it's this limited series on Netflix, a documentary series. It's called, I think it's called The Ripper or something like that. It's about this serial killer in like West Yorkshire in like the mid 1970s to the 80s. It was really interesting, actually. Like, it talks about like how there was like this terrible relationship between the community and the police, especially with racial tensions that led to this killer being like, on the loose for so long because nobody really wanted to talk to the cops. Also, the cops like had terrible practices in catching this guy. It sort of reminded me a bit of like how Bruce MacArthur went around for so long killing people and nobody was able to catch him, and there was barely any like attention on it. It was interesting actually. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
fun fact: the murderer that the documentary is about, like he actually died like last year of COVID. So
Oh.
yeah, there you go. Kind of nice, you know. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, it's an interesting series. It's on Netflix right now. Check it out if you haven't seen it, guys.
Okay. I guess is that it for me?
Yeah, that's it. I haven't really seen anything else.
All right. Cool. I guess we'll talk about next episode quickly.
Yeah,
Which, yeah. We'll be honest. The future will be looking a little shaky for this podcast because I know, Ian, you want to
yeah,
take time off and making your own videos, and obviously, when I'm doing my program on Vancouver Island, I don't know how
it's
much I'm
really
gonna
hard
be able to
to.
see movies at all.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'll be updating you on that. It might be that I could imagine me seeing like one film a week, and then I'll like tell you, and then maybe you watch it, and then we'll talk about it a little for like a short amount of
okay.
time. Definitely a shorter amount of time than we normally do. I'd say that
Yeah,
might happen. Um, yeah. But as far as
yeah,
next week, because I think we can, because I know you're going to be
yep,
working. You're working on moving out to Windsor, Ontario.
yep.
Um, but in the midst of that, I think we can do Shang-Chi, right? You're gonna see that.
Yeah, I think we probably could try and do that. Yeah.
All right. So we'll do that. Um,
Okay.
whose turn would it be to recommend something? I don't know. Kind of. You recommend Speed,
Um,
along with what was the other film we did with Speed? It was Coda, which I recommended. So I don't know. Doesn't matter too much to me what we want. I don't know. Do you have any films you
yeah.
think would be a good Shang-Chi? We could do another Destin Daniel Craig film. Or, did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
I
you said
said that in the
Destin
right
Daniel
order?
Craig.
Yeah, Destin
Yes,
Daniel
you
Craig.
finally said it in the right order. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's okay. I don't know, actually, that's a good question. What would be a good film to go with this? I don't know, maybe Black Panther? I don't know.
uh,
Because this,
eh. I
I don't
mean,
know.
Destin
Because it
Daniel
could, because
Craig.
it's, I don't know, this film could be like a Black Panther situation where it's like pretty influential on like, the Asian American, like Black Panther was on the American community. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We could do The Glass Castle. That's on Amazon Prime. That's his other
What's the
film.
Glass Castle about?
I think it's definitely has his weakest reviews. It's about a young girl raised in a dysfunctional family, constantly on the run from the FBI, living in poverty. She comes of age, guided by her drunkard, ingenious father, who distracts her with magical stories to keep her mind off the family's dire state, and her selfish, nonconformist mother, who has no intention of raising family, along with her younger brother and sister and her other older sister. Together, they fend for each other as they mature in an unorthodox journey that is their family life. It has solid reviews. It's
Okay.
3.3 on Letterboxd.
Alright, well, I'd be fine to check that out then. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
Alright, cool.
Um,
Sounds good.
all right. So we'll
Alright.
do Shang-Chi and Glass Castle for next episode. And yeah,
Yep.
we'll see you guys in the next episode. We're here, and one of us is queer, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.